We've got a very special guest today. Let's check out... Oh, you've already read the title. Here we go. Blocked content. What's happening, my Block buddies, and welcome to a very special new episode of Blocked Content Leak Speak. And it's actually Leak Speak today because we're going to be talking leaks. And if I say we have a very special guest today. Chris, how are you?
I am doing excellent, my friend. What is going on, everybody, for Blocked Content? I am LaxChris, and I am so excited to be here talking with you today, Callum.
Oh, man, it's really strange to have you on the show and, prophetic at the same time.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of your channel for a long time. You're a big inspiration in a lot of ways, so I'm very excited to pick your brain and kind of talk about leaks today.
Well, let's just do that. So for those of you who don't know, this is Blocked Content. We are a channel that does animation. We do leak discussion about video games. And today we have a special guest who's also a little bit in that field. So Chris, talk a little bit about what you do on your channel and, the kind of videos that you put out and kind of your message.
Sure. So, if you guys don't know who I am, basically, I love to make videos about anything Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, especially when it comes to stuff like leaks and rumors and speculation. So, if you guys are a fan of what Block Content does, I do a lot of that as well over on my channel. Along with that, I love streaming Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with all of my viewers out there, and I've also started to dabble in some challenge videos for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but basically, when people think of LaxChris, they definitely think of the leak scene, and I love talking about leaks, so that is what I like to be known for.
That's a very good introduction, actually. It almost feels like you wrote that down. You probably didn't. Very good, very good. So I don't have that good of an introduction myself, but I've been watching some of your content. I really get the idea of your channel, and I just wanted to reach out to you. I thought it'd be fun because people have been mentioning this guy, LaxChris, all over the place. Wanted to find out who this guy was. At first, I had no idea. So I hit up your channel. I watched a few videos, and I was like, oh, this is very interesting. So what basically happens, and if we talk about leaks, what we mean is all this information that's floating around the internet about video games, and in this case specifically Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, is of course talking about information that might be true, might not be true, but it's basically a hint to what's to come, right? So a leak about a character that might enter the fray, a leak about some stage or game modes, and of course this has happened in the past, some very successfully. I think there was even a person who leaked the "Everyone is Here" thing from Smash Ultimate, right?
Yep, that was the infamous Grinch leak, my friend. That along with, so right now we had the Grinch leak way back when during the base speculation days for the base roster, and right now we're actually taking at look at leaks that people believe that Banjo Kazooie is actually going to be announced at this upcoming E3. So one of the things that I'm sure Callum and I both like to do is talk about these leaks, try to figure out whether or not they have credibility or anything like that, because I don't know about you, Callum, but I really want to know who the next character is going to be, because Smash Ultimate is just such an amazing game franchise, and one that is extremely near and dear to my heart.
It's so strange, right? It's this entire super crossover game that has everything that you'd ever want in a video game. You can go from the Super Mario Brothers franchise to stuff like Pac-Man, Mega Man, Sonic, even The Legend of Zelda. Now, of course, Metal Gear Solid of all things. Now we get Persona. So strange.
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, we have Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy in a Nintendo game where he's battling versus Mario, Ryu from Street Fighter, Sonic, Mega Man. This game franchise is just something truly special and one of a kind. I don't know if we'll ever see another one like it again.
And even Pichu.
Exactly.
So if we're talking about leaks, yeah, you already mentioned it. Banjo, of course, from Banjo Kazooie, is one of the big points of contention within the entire fan base. There's two characters that people are kind of battling against, and I thought it'd be cool to have you on the show to kind of talk about some things that have been floating around the internet, but more or less your thoughts on things, because I feel we have all this information out there. It's either left or right if you believe one or another, and I thought it'd be a lot more interesting instead talking specifics, talk about what's in your heart, what's in your mind, and kind of what do you think is the most likely, and what do you think is maybe not that likely, but you really, really, really want to be true. So we can even like go super off topic and be like, I want Spider-Man in Smash. I don't know if you do, but stuff like that I think would be very interesting. So maybe our first point should be the bear and the bird, right?
Yeah, let's do it. I think that when we think about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate leaks, at least right now, there's two main characters that we have been talking about a ton. First of all, we have Banjo Kazooie, obviously. There's tons of stuff going around with what Vergaben came out and said yesterday, with stuff that other people have said, like the guy from Reset Era. There is just so much information floating around about Banjo Kazooie, and we also have Erdrick from the Dragon Quest franchise. Now, Callum, I'm not going to lie to you, when I thought that Erdrick was going to be the character revealed at this E3. I mean, we're a week away from E3 at this point, and I think that I speak for most people when I say that all of the evidence was there for Erdrick, but now if we're only getting one character, I think I'm leaning more towards Banjo Kazooie. I mean, regardless about how you feel about Vergaben, I do still believe he has at least some kind of credibility. Yes, he's gotten some stuff wrong, but what leaker hasn't gotten anything wrong before? I definitely think that Banjo Kazooie is probably our strongest contender, and I think that he's probably going to be announced right at the beginning of the Direct.
It's weird because I feel the same in a few ways. Like Banjo, I feel makes the most sense, right? If you think about a character like Erdrick, that's a character that I don't feel is like E3 worthy in that sense. Kind of like how Joker was revealed at the Video Game Awards. I feel like Erdrick would be a character to be revealed at like an event, something like that. But E3, the Direct, is the biggest event, right? That's like the guns out kind of show. So. And I just finished rewatching a couple of reactions from last year's Nintendo Direct at E3, which was, of course, the infamous Everyone is Here thing. Like, I watched a few channels' reaction videos to it. I watched the video itself to kind of figure out where that magic was, because I think E3 in its entirety has a lot of great moments to it. The Reggie, like, my name is Reggie, I'm about making, that thing was great. I think a lot of the Sony stuff is really funny, where they, like, basically screw up, and then a few years down the line, they actually correct themselves very well. And a lot of moments with Xbox as well, where they kind of fumbled throughout the beginning of Xbox One, but, like, last year completely demolished, they were great.
Absolutely. I think if we think back to last year's E3, you're right, where they announced Everyone is Here, along with Ridley in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, a character that has been sought after by fans for years and years and years, and we just had tons of Sakurai saying, this character's never coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, he's just too big. That was a big E3 reveal, because not only was he extremely popular among all of the fans, but
he was also pretty big.
Exactly, he was also pretty big. And I think that if we had gotten, in the last Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct before the game was actually released, if we had gotten something like that with Ken and Incineroar, I don't know your personal thoughts on it, but I was personally a little bit underwhelmed, especially after looking at the Grinch leak. If we had gotten something like that at E3, I think it would have been disappointing. You're right, E3 is the stage where we need to get those big reveals, and Banjo Kazooie, like I say in a lot of my videos, may not be the most iconic character in the world, but he is so important to Nintendo fans. I mean, Callum, I'm not 100% sure if you were taking a look at the Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS fan ballots or anything, but Banjo Kazooie, King K. Rool, and Ridley were at the top of every single one. Like, Banjo Kazooie is not the most iconic character in the entire world, but he's so important to us. And I think that Sakurai and Nintendo recognize that and want to do stuff and make dreams like that a reality. I mean, King K. Rool was what, in a couple of Donkey Kong games? We haven't seen him in a while. And here he is now in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate because we, the fans, just wanted him.
It's completely correct. If I think about a character like Ridley too, right? I mean, Ridley is like infamous for being the character that people really wanted in Smash, and there was a big part of the fan base that said, never, ever, ever gonna happen, too big. And there was a big part of the fan base that said, just wait, Sakurai will cave in because everyone's asking for it. And we never really know how to feel about these things. Like, if a new Smash game gets announced, we even wonder, is Samus gonna show up in this one? Is Bowser gonna be back? It's like the entirety of the reveal of a new Smash game is what's going to be different? What's going to be the same? So seeing everyone is here and then having added onto it Ridley and then later getting stuff like King K. Rool, you're completely right. Those are like the only reason those characters are in there are just because of the fans, and not even because of sales or anything like that. Because I think that if you want to go for sales, if you want to go the marketing route, you add a couple of other characters. I think that a character like Toad, and I'm sorry if I'm saying this, I think a character like Captain Toad would be a lot more marketable on the cover of a game like that than Ridley or K. Rool. Not to us, not to the fans, but that character is already on shelves in a couple of other different games. So we have to like say Sakurai is doing this for us. Sakurai is doing this just for the fans. And yeah, he'll make a crazy creative moveset for them. He'll like reintroduce them to everybody, to younger gamers as well. And that's the part where I think that Banjo would be a great fit. It's the idea, the Mega Man treatment.
Exactly. I think that that's something I like to emphasize a lot on my channel as well. Like, yes, from a marketing standpoint, you could have a character like Steve. I mean, obviously, Minecraft has celebrated its 10th anniversary recently. Minecraft is incredibly iconic. But there's like this huge divide right now on... There's a side of people that really, really want to see Steve in the game, and then there's another side of people who are like, I really, I don't want Steve in Smash Ultimate. He would definitely sell well for Nintendo, with Minecraft being like so profitable. It's been on a couple different Nintendo consoles. But at the end of the day, I just am getting the feeling right now that they are going to add in Banjo Kazooie because, once again, Sakurai likes to take care of his fans. Now, I'm sorry to segue a little bit, but in terms of Erdrick, the reason I think that they're going to add Erdrick into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is because they're starting to push their Dragon Quest games on the Switch. We have games like Dragon Quest Builders, Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition, both coming to the Nintendo Switch, and the best way to market those games is to have people get exposed to those characters. So if you take a look at, what happened with Super Smash Bros. Melee, they originally were not going to add Marth and Roy as playable characters over here in the United States because they just thought they weren't popular enough. Well, there was a huge outcry for them, and once they came over to the game and people got to experience both Marth and Roy, they also wanted to learn about where these characters came from, and they wanted to learn about their backstories, so they added them. That is what made Fire Emblem so popular over here in the United States, and I mean, it's popular worldwide now. And I think that in terms of Erdrick, that is what Nintendo is kind of going for. They're trying to push it. And I mean, especially, with Square Enix being so weird about all their characters and stuff, I think that in Nintendo's mind, from a marketing standpoint, that would just be a win-win.
It's the same thing I feel with Joker, right? Introducing like the PlayStation audience or something like that. Something like that's a lot bigger than just third party. It's outside of the realm of popularity, right? So it's introducing this whole new audience to it. And Joker kind of does that for a specific like type of game, like the JRPG kind of stuff, in a different way than Fire Emblem does it. And I feel like Erdrick would do it for like the Dragon Quest thing. And Dragon Quest as a whole, to you and me, probably doesn't sound that big, right? The games are great. They're awesome. And they really do some fun stuff. I think the character designs are great. But to Japan, those games are godly. Like they have events, they have national holidays. It's gigantic over there. So yeah, it's the strangest thing for us to like realize, but that character, or at least that franchise being represented in Smash, is very, very likely. So if we talk about Banjo or Erdrick, and to me, there's another character wedged in between there that you already mentioned, but if we talk about Banjo and Erdrick, I would almost say that they are both the same kind of likely. And I'm not just talking about the leak that just happened, but just talking about the chances of these characters, because I feel like Banjo is likely for a couple of reasons. It's a legacy character. It's a character that was from the Nintendo 64, right? Exactly. So it was a character from the Nintendo 64, had two great games that were like critically acclaimed. Rare was top of their game. Rare helped create a lot of cool, memorable characters like King K. Rool, who showed up in Smash Ultimate. But also, the game is full of charm. Banjo and Kazooie have a great moveset. Now, of course, they moved on to Microsoft because like Nintendo just didn't want to buy the company, so Microsoft did. And then they were not treated that well. They got a game, the Nuts and Bolts game, which tried to kind of reinvent the wheel with Banjo Kazooie and add some new stuff. But I think they really needed to get their footing first before doing like real weird, like experimental stuff. I think that's the main mistake there. I heard that they were first developing like a sort of like standard Banjo game, and that didn't feel right, or they didn't want to give the audience a simple like re-release. I think they should have definitely done that, because what's going to happen now is they are going to do that now, probably. We've seen the figure, right? The figure that, what's the company called that makes the toys? Exquisite Gaming or something?
It is Exquisite Gaming, yes.
Right, so I'm on top of my stuff here. Exquisite Gaming is doing this really cool, like, special edition Banjo and Kazooie toy, and the figure looks amazing, great detail to it. And if you think about great detail, these things are, of course, being 3D printed and stuff like that, so it's been, like, modeled, of course, and these things, like, have been thought about, and the fabric on the pants, and the new design of a backpack and stuff like that. And I feel like that process, that entire thing, wouldn't really happen unless there's a reason for those, things to be happening. So, of course, yeah, Banjo makes sense. I would love to have a character in Smash that is reinvigorating that franchise and, allows Microsoft to do great new games with Banjo and Kazooie going forward. Like, I feel like if they do Banjo 3 right now, like the game that was mentioned in Banjo Tooie, if they actually do that, then it'll be like full circle, because it still has yet to happen, right? Grunty said something like, I'll be back in like Banjo 3 or something. So I'd love for them to be like full circle. But in terms of moveset, for Banjo, it'd be too easy. Like the down special move would be like shooting eggs, and this like you can do like the pecking attack in the air, and of course all these things, like you can just see them already. It's not too difficult. The animations would be incredible. It's just this character isn't relevant, hasn't been relevant, is a Microsoft-owned character. There's a couple of things that, in hindsight could make us go, yeah, that's probably why Banjo didn't make it in, right? But there's a lot of things where we're like, this is probably why Banjo's going to be in. So for me, like to close the book on Banjo for this discussion would be, I think the character is one of the like 3 or 4 most likely characters, and there being like 4 slots left in the Fighter's Pass, I think that Banjo and Kazooie is going to happen. I don't know about you.
Yeah, so I just want to make one last point on Banjo Kazooie. A lot of what I'm hearing as a point against Banjo Kazooie is that Banjo is actually owned by Microsoft, but that should not stop him in any way. Obviously, we have tons of third-party characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I mean, Joker, Cloud, Strife, Ryu, and I feel like all of those characters are bigger names than Banjo Kazooie, so it really shouldn't be an issue, especially since Phil Spencer has said before that he would absolutely love to see these characters come to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, once again, I don't think that confirms anything, but my last point about Banjo Kazooie is he just looks like he's a Smash Ultimate character. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes. I could see Banjo Kazooie running around fighting versus Mario and Mega Man and stuff because he has that look to him. And not every character does. Like you said, he has a ton of moveset potential, and I just think it would make so many people happy getting him in there that at this point, I think it'd be a crime not to put him in.
So, in terms of added content to Banjo and Kazooie, because Sakurai is super faithful to the characters that he brings to Smash Brothers, almost to a fault, right? Almost like adding stuff that makes them broken, but like they're broken because they're a lot like the characters, So that's a good and bad thing. They'll patch it. But I feel like with a character like Banjo, there's too much good music you can bring. There's too much like spirit battles that make sense. So what are things with Banjo, with the Banjo Kazooie franchise and like Grant Kirkhope music, what are things that you really want to see with these 2 characters included?
Honestly, I would like to see more rare spirits in general in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I think we have a couple in there already, which showed earlier that Rare actually has some involvement, but like Rare actually has a ton of very different games, and I really like a lot of the games I grew up playing with them. So I'd love to see more spirits, and then like you said, the music, man. I think that bringing in a bunch of banjo music would be absolutely amazing. Because just like Persona 5, I love the Banjo Kazooie music. It might just be because it's nostalgia, but I think that getting a bunch of spirits from Banjo Kazooie's parent company, along with a ton of awesome music from the game, and in terms of the stage, I think I would really like to see Spiral Mountain or something along those lines. I know that's one that's been thrown around a lot. But yeah, I'd love to see more spirits come along with Banjo. I don't think we should just get a bunch of Banjo Kazooie spirits. I think we should get spirits representing this company as a whole, because once again, they have very good history with Nintendo, and I love seeing all of the different spirits in Smash Ultimate.
That's a really good idea. Now, there's two things that I think about if we're bringing like a rare to the party. It's one, to think about Diddy Kong, because of course Diddy Kong Racing, it'll be like a reunion for those two characters. Like, I almost get teary-eyed. What if the trailer for Banjo would include like Diddy Kong in some kind of a way, right? That'd be super cool, like to have that reunion and have them hugging each other. Like, it's been so long.
Dude, I know that, and that's an idea that people have been throwing around, like Banjo Kazooie like peeking his head out and seeing the entire Nintendo family in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, running up and giving a hug to Diddy Kong to show that like he's back with his family. Because when people think about Banjo Kazooie, they're not thinking about the Xbox, they don't, that game is not Banjo Kazooie. At least in my opinion. Banjo Kazooie is the original and Banjo Tooie. Those games are where Banjo Kazooie shines and where a lot of people fell in love with the character. He is a Nintendo character, even though unfortunately he's owned by Microsoft right now.
That's a very funny way to look at it. And I kind of agree. I think that they handled the port of the game very well, very respectfully too.
Definitely.
It looks great, it plays good. They did the stop and swap thing, which was incredible of them to like continue there. But yeah, I agree. Like, it is a character that's synonymous with Nintendo 64 and with that era of gaming and with like 3D collectathons as a whole. In terms of like added content, I would like to see maybe a stage that isn't like the main area of the game. Maybe something weird like Treasure. What was it? Treasure Trove Cove?
Yeah, Treasure Trove Cove. Yep.
Yeah, and I totally love that stage, not only because of the music, but because that's like an early area in the game, but also has a lot of diverse, like it has a pirate ship, and it has a beach, and it has the shark, and it has the big like snail kind of creature, or the crab, the giant enemy crab, that kind of stuff. And so there's so much good stuff to mine there, right?
Yeah, seeing all those as stage hazards and stuff would just be absolutely amazing. Or I think another approach I think they could take is maybe have a stage where, just like, the Mario Sunshine stage, they visit different parts of the Banjo-Kazooie world. I love that. Like, with Super Mario Sunshine, with that stage, Super Mario Sunshine is one of my all-time favorite games. So seeing all of these different areas of Delfino Plaza and seeing, like, all of Banjo-Kazooie's in HD would just be absolutely amazing, especially for fans who have been fans since the Nintendo 64 days.
So maybe Grunty would like swoop in, kind of like Kamek, and kind of do a magic spell or something, and then it'll be transported to a new area or something like that.
Wouldn't that be sweet? Oh man,
it would be really cool. Yeah. So thinking about Banjo and what that character brings and what Rare brings, I kind of want to think of the way like maybe they treat it like Smash Brothers cross Microsoft, where it's like, and now we're going to get a whole lot of Microsoft spirit. So here's Master Chief, and you get to fight against Green Samus or something like that. Right. Do you think that there's a possibility for it to be like a Microsoft partnership? Because we've seen them working together with like the Cuphead thing, and then of course you mentioned Minecraft as well. Do you think that there's a strong possibility that stuff like that will happen, or will it stick to that franchise?
No, I think it's absolutely going to be a partnership with Microsoft. As I'm sure a lot of your viewers, are, as well as mine, are already aware, I mean, Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Live have actually been rumored to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, if that actually ends up happening and we see Xbox Live as well as Xbox games on the Nintendo Switch, that shows signs of a really good connection between Xbox and Nintendo. So why wouldn't they want to add in a bunch of Xbox memorabilia and Xbox characters? Now, I don't think that Microsoft is going to get a ton of special treatment because of it. They might get 2 characters instead of just 1. But I do think that if that does end up happening, especially, Microsoft is going to want to show that connection with Nintendo and probably just say, hey, since you already have Banjo Kazooie, why don't you also put these spirits in your game, because, you know, these are part of our history. And then I think that it will be beneficial for both companies, because obviously if this does end up happening, Nintendo's going to make money, Microsoft's going to make money. And then for the kids who are playing through World of Light, playing with all of these brand new spirits, or just playing on Spirit Board, you know, if they get to have access to, like, learn about some of these Microsoft characters, they're going to want to either play them on the Game Pass on Switch, or they're going to go over to Microsoft and try out some of those characters on Xbox. I think that either way, if we do get Banjo, my hope is to see Rare Spirit. I don't want them to be overshadowed by Microsoft spirits, but I would be absolutely shocked if we just got Banjo Kazooie and then, like, a couple spirits from its parent company, if that makes sense.
It does absolutely make sense. If there's pie in the sky dreams that I have for Microsoft to bring other characters to Smash, I mean, you've seen the Snake Codex series that we do, right? So we also did one on Master Chief very early in the series, and a lot of people loved that because we were very specific with what Master Chief's moveset would be. And I think the Halo franchise as a whole, like, there's one character that I wouldn't mind getting in Smash before Banjo. Like, if Banjo weren't to get in, but Master Chief would, I wouldn't cry, because Master Chief, to me, represents the first-person shooter a little bit more than any other character would, like Doom or like James Bond or something like that.
I agree 100%.
It's the craziest thing, because I feel like Halo brought it back, but also, like, it was called Combat Evolved, and I feel like that's true because everyone has kind of copied Halo a little bit since it came out. So to me, that's also a staple of video game history, right? It's a character like Snake, it's a character like Cloud.
Exactly.
In that sense, it's like the perfect addition to Smash, because I also feel like there's a very non-lethal way to include it in Smash, even though Joker now has a gun and Sakurai really has nothing, you know, to like say in this matter anymore. Yeah, I feel like adding a character like Master Chief would be fun, because it would, you know, be another heavy character, but it would be a heavy character with a lot of projectile stuff, a lot of very cool moves, maybe the bubble shield from Halo 3 or Halo 2, Halo 3 I feel, and then of course the needler, so like shooting like little like sci-fi needles into characters, and they'll stick to them kind of like the ink does, but then they'll explode a little bit later with a little bit of an impact, the plasma grenade, stuff like that. I feel like Master Chief, he appeared in a game, in I think one of the Dead or Alive games. I feel like a Spartan was in that game, and had a great moveset, had a lot of that, you know, very weird sci-fi element to the moves. So that's a character that's like a pie-in-the-sky dream for me. Like Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark would be really cool too, now that they're of course also owned by Microsoft. I don't feel like there's too many other characters from Microsoft. Like Steve, I get. I'm not a Minecraft player, so that's a thing. Like I dived a little bit deeper into Minecraft the past few months, but I feel like you are only connected to that franchise if you were there from the start, you know, and got that entire hype and the whole planet was playing it, and I wasn't, because I was just not doing that. And so that, to me, that character doesn't resonate with me. There's a lot of people saying that it's like a default skin to a character that doesn't really have a personality. I could definitely see that. So to me, that's a character that would make sense from a marketing standpoint, but it wouldn't make sense from like a fan, like from like a general like Sakurai-ness, if you know what I mean. Like a character that makes sense, like a character that makes sense in a way where it's like charm and moveset potential and video game history. And of course Minecraft has a very big stamp on history within video games as a whole, but it's not as big as that of Halo. You know, it's not that big as what Halo was to the entire, you know, gaming scape. So I know that there's a lot of people that want Steve in the game. There's a lot of people that want Banjo in the game, including myself and you, of course. I would love Master Chief just as much. I feel like Banjo still is my number one from Microsoft, but I don't know if you have any other characters from Microsoft that you want in Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, so, well, I'd really like to see Cuphead. I think he'd be super cool, but, yeah. But one quick point about Master Chief and Banjo, if you don't mind, really quickly. Or, sorry, Master Chief and Steve. When I was talking about Master Chief and Steve, one of the reasons why I thought that Steve had a little bit of a better chance coming into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is because Minecraft has some history with Nintendo. Now, for a while, that's what I believed, is that, Minecraft has had 2 or 3 games on Nintendo consoles, so he has a better chance. But Joker didn't have any games, like Persona 5's not on the Nintendo Switch, so why should that matter in what character can make it in? And I agree with all of your points. Master Chief is an incredibly iconic character, and Sakurai can kid-friendly down Master Chief. He doesn't have to be like cutting characters in half with his beam sword or anything like that. I think that he's an incredibly iconic character, and he is like the mascot of Microsoft. When I think of Microsoft, I think of Master Chief. So seeing him in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate alongside Mario, Cloud, Ryu, Sonic, Mega Man would just be an absolute dream come true.
That's true. Yeah, I feel like it's almost in the name, right? Like Microsoft Master Chief. Like, as you said that, I was like, that's kind of true. Like, the character has like a green tone to it. That green tone we also feel is synonymous with the Xbox. So yeah, it totally makes sense. Like, as much as we don't want it, Banjo is an Xbox character. So yeah, they're going to have to do a partnership with Microsoft if that stuff is going to happen. And there's been some reports that there have been talks between Nintendo and Microsoft. And of course, this has happened far in the past. If we go back to the DS era, there was actually a tech demo for Halo on the Nintendo DS, like not the 3DS, but on the DS. And there's footage of that thing, like there's beta footage of Halo running on the Nintendo DS, which is just crazy. But that goes to show they're not like shying away from talking to each other, experimenting and seeing if something could happen. And maybe this was the year that it actually did happen. I feel like, was it the Game Awards or last E3 that the reports came out? Like, Nintendo and Microsoft had a sit down about something. Was it last year?
I feel like it was really recent, right? Like, because I had just started talking about it. It feels like a couple months ago. It must have been around the time of the Game Awards.
It should have been the Game Awards then. Then, to me, it kind of makes sense for it to be far along in development, to be able to be announced now. It won't be a thing like, here's Banjo, by the way, boot up your game because you can buy him now. I don't think that that's going to be happening. I would hope so, but I think that reveal would be better suited to Erdrick, right? Maybe we would see the Smash Brothers tournament that's happening. Is it like in a few days?
I think it's tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
On Saturday. Yeah, it's
so
Saturday.
Good.
I know.
I gotta cancel my plans. I have no plans. I'm always alone. So anyway, I feel like it's gonna be great to see something happening with that tournament, because if you think about it, there's everyone watching. Right? Everyone is watching Nintendo this year because last year was the Everyone is Here. What are they going to do now with the Smash Brothers? So if there's a big Smash Brothers live streamed event and there's a live audience that they know they're going to get clicks from, if there's a viral video, like announcement reaction from this character, what if it started out with not the Banjo reveal like you suggested, but what if we start out the Smash Brothers invitational thing with the Erdrick reveal? That'd be like a soft kind of good reveal for that kind of a setting, right?
Right, and do you remember the Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS when Lucas, Roy, and Ryu were announced? They had that tournament afterwards. I can't remember if it was a Super Smash Bros. Invitational or if it was a Nintendo World Championship, but they actually showed those characters off for the first time in the tournament. I don't know if you remember Cosmo, right? But he actually played as Roy during the tournament. So, we got exposed to those characters during the tournament, and I feel like Erdrick would be the perfect character for that. They could show him off in the tournament. They could be like, this character is getting released right after the tournament. We're going to show him off a little bit. People are going to be super hyped. People are going to be tuning in, watching, and studying every single thing about Erdrick. And so not only would E3 be getting a lot of attention, which their Nintendo Direct, but also this tournament would be as well. That actually is a point I did not even think of, Callum. Good. That's really good.
I'm learning from the master. No, the idea to me is just what you said. If a character like Erdrick gets announced and someone gets to play as this character in the tournament, like it's HBox using Erdrick or something, an idea like that I think is very smart to do, to get their eyes on, and maybe there's even more when we do the Nintendo Direct presentation, right? This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're doing a whole lot more with Smash Brothers down the road. And I'm super psyched for that tournament. I'm super psyched for all that Nintendo is doing live. I'm actually a little bit more excited for Super Mario Maker 2 personally. If you've watched my channel, we Like, we love Super Mario Maker 2 over here too. And, you know, I am a creator myself. Like, I just want to make stuff for people. I want to make adventures. I want to make levels. So no doubt in my mind that we'll be sticking very closely to both the tournament and the Mario Maker 2 tournament as well. So I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about some other stuff that has been going around the internet. You know, the Burgerben kind of leaks, the stuff that came out with the new Pokemon game, Sword and Shield, that kind of line up. What's your idea about all that stuff? Almost like centering down. We now have percentages where people are talking about leaks, right? The infamous like 99% sure that Banjo is going to be in and Erdrick is definitely in. What do you think about all this kind of news?
I feel like right now we're in Vegas putting like odds down. Like, these are the odds that Banjo Kazooie is going to be making it in, right?
Banjo on red.
Yeah, seriously. But I feel like so back, if you don't mind for a second, back during the Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS days, I was following leaks every once in a while, but the only ones that I can really remember are like the Jamatsu leak, which obviously had like Chorus Kids, a couple other characters like that, and then we had the ESRB leak, but other than that, I didn't really hear a lot about it. Today, though, I mean, I started my channel back in July, and I have over 20,000 subscribers. I mean, you're at well over 30,000 at this point, and like, leaks have just become such a huge thing to talk about with people. I think a lot of people really like it. And going back to what we were talking about with, like, what I've heard about other games and stuff, did you hear that there was actually somebody who leaked a bunch of the information about the Sword and Shield Direct before we actually saw the Direct? Like, he leaked Dynamax, he leaked the new legendary Pokemon. Like, real leaks are out there. They happen.
Yeah, this person even said, like, I'm still angry at Nintendo, but I'm super hyped about the game. And then he didn't just go out and leak, like, stuff that we know about now, but like additional stuff, like, oh, there's this character that you meet on this road, and then the story goes this way, and this is the special team. Like, I'm not gonna like spoil stuff right here at this moment. I feel like you're gonna probably do a video about this one, right? So they'll have to watch your channel for this one. But yeah, they talk about all sorts of stuff from that Pokemon Sword and Shield game that will almost definitely happen, because this was days before, and a lot of people have been saying, yeah, he just edited his post, and that's not possible. There's no way you can do that. So he called like everything and more. It wasn't just all the stuff from that Pokemon Nintendo Direct. It was also stuff beyond that. Like, there were like evolutions this person talked about. There were certain specifics that, like, names and stuff like that, like different Pokemon names and character names. So that, like, just like you said, there are real leaks out there, and they don't always take the shape of stuff like the infamous Grinch leak, where it's like a picture and, you know, all the sources line up, you know.
I still can't believe that was fake.
It's so strange, that whole Grinch leak. For everyone listening that doesn't know, the Grinch leak, it's called the Grinch leak because there's an image that popped up, which was the Smash Brothers banner, Everyone is Here, you know, the painting with all the characters in it, but there were additional characters in there, but it was also a tiny screenshot from a Snapchat that someone managed to get. And it was also not just the banner, but it was printed out, and it was inside of like an office building with a lot of other printed materials, which included like promotional art for the Grinch movie that was it Benedict Cumberbatch that voices the Grinch there? I feel like it was. Yeah, he'd probably be able to pull that one off, even though he's super British. He can do anything. So that was super believable, right? It had printed materials for another thing that wasn't even a game, that was just a movie, and that wasn't even released yet. It had renders for the Grinch thing that weren't out there, and the artwork looked super convincing. And even when it came out that it was fake, even like the Ken thing was pretty accurate, like Ken doing like the Shoryuken with fire around him. So that leak has gone down into history as the thing. Like, everybody reported on that thing. It was through IGN, it was Kotaku, it was everybody talked about this thing. You made videos about it, I made videos about it, you cried, I cried. There's probably still time for us to heal, because we are still getting 4 more characters within Super. I'm so good at this like I'm so good at the segue thing. I just ruined it. So talking about other characters that might be coming, maybe characters that were in that Grinch League here. I brought the segue back again. Maybe the characters that were in the Grinch League that could still happen in the Fighters Pass.
Like Banjo
I'm very
Kazooie.
curious what you like Banjo Kazooie.
Do you think that there are characters in the rest of the Fighters Pass that are going to surprise people, that'll be like left field, like it's Leon from Resident Evil, or it's like new Pokemon that we didn't know about?
Oh yeah, Callum, you and I, we talk about leaks all the time, and we look at stuff, and a lot of times we think we know exactly what Sakurai is doing, right? Like everybody thinks that they haven't figured out. You know, the original rule was in Super Smash Bros. Melee, no third-party characters. Then in the next game, we get Sonic the Hedgehog and Snake from Metal Gear. If you had told my 10-year-old self that we were gonna eventually see Snake in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, why would he be in the game? Like, he's, you know, from an M-rated game. He doesn't look like he fit in Smash, and yet Sakurai and his team were able to make him perfect. I think he's a great representation of Solid Snake. So when we take a look, you know, and we have Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. Who saw that coming? Like we as fans can speculate and look at leaks and rumors as much as we want, but we have no idea what's going on in Sakurai's head, or Nintendo's head for that matter. I mean, just think about Super Mario Maker 2. Everyone thought we were going to be able to play online with our friends, but we're not going to be able to do that. So,
by the way, 2 words. One's a fish, one's not a fish, but a plant. Piranha Plant.
I mean, right?
Who saw that one coming? Like, that was just a drop of the mic, and that was like Sakurai saying, "You guys don't know anything, you know? I can do anything I want."
That was so random. Like, Piranha Plant, you're right. That was probably the biggest what in Super Smash Bros. History. Like, this character of Piranha Plant, and like, if you had told me that a Piranha Plant was going to make it into Smash, I would have been like, why Piranha Plant over Waluigi, first of all, but that's a topic for another day. And also, how are you going to make a potted plant a moveset, and yet Sakurai did it? He did it. He made Piranha Plant an awesome character. I love him.
He moves so great. He has such great animations, but I feel like it was Sakurai going like, we need like some sort of bonus for people that like do the Fighters Pass, or I feel like it was an online bonus or something. And it was like this thing where Sakurai was like, yeah, let's do this and let's make it a character that isn't like the biggest character ever. And then they were developing it, and it took a long time, and it took effort, and it was like, what have I done? What have I done? We're spending so much time on the Piranha Plant. Probably no one's going to laugh. No one's going to think this is funny. When I was writing the thing, it was super funny, and now we're making a ladder animation for Piranha Plant, and stuff isn't funny anymore. People really want to go home.
Dude, but I think that was also a statement from Sakurai, you know, because we've been speculating and looking at leaks for so long, and we were like, we know you, Sakurai, but he was like, you have no idea what's up my sleeve. Boom, Piranha Plant. Not a Goomba, not a Koopa Troopa, not any of the other Mario characters with appendages. No, Piranha Plant. He knew what I firmly believe that he knew what he was doing when he was like, I want to make a moveset for this Piranha Plant, and I want people to be shocked when they see it. And the entire world was.
It's really fun to see him being able to do anything he wants, and that it just takes a little bit of time for people to adjust, but it's like Marth is now everyone's favorite character, and Marth was like who's this swordsman that we don't know about? And the same thing with like Mr. Game & Watch, other characters, and now of course infamously with Piranha Plant, a lot of people love that character. So yeah, Sakurai being able to turn everything into gold is now known. So are there any out there characters in general that maybe have appeared in leaks, that maybe are just characters that you really want to have in the game, that you say, this is one that I feel Sakurai could do so much justice. Please just, live my brain, take this character out there, just put it in the game. Is there a character like that for you?
Anyone who knows me and knows my channel knows that my favorite video game of all time is The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and my favorite video game character of all time is Tetra from The Legend.
Wow.
I would love to see her in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, I know she's not the most likely, but back during Brawl, apparently there were 7 scrapped characters. I'm sure you've heard about the Forbidden 7. Yeah. And they were actually developing a Toon Zelda and a Toon Sheik, which lots of people believe to be Tetra, so Sakurai has thought about these characters before, so I am going to hold out hope until she eventually makes it into the game that she'll make it in. In terms of a more realistic character, though, I actually would love to see Cuphead. I think that seeing Cuphead in Smash Ultimate would be absolutely crazy. I mean, Cuphead came to the Nintendo Switch. They have really good relations. The game is extremely popular right now. And I think especially if they release a sequel or keep releasing DLC, like, we could actually see Cuphead being our first indie character.
I would love for it to be the case, because I think Cuphead walks that like Shovel Knight line, right? Where it's like...
I was just about to say that.
Exactly. Shovel Knight looks great in Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it's such a wonder that it got in. Like, I was a game developer, like an indie game developer for a few years, and then the career path got me more in terms of animation and video than game creation. But back in those days, it would have been the biggest thing in the entire world to have your character that you started that because of your love for video games, to have it in Smash. So I couldn't even imagine how Yacht Club Game feels about having their character in that style in Smash Bros. So polished as not just a trophy, but an assist trophy with sounds and animation. So to have an indie character be represented in Smash, it has to be one that's universally loved. Now, there are 2 big choices to me. 3 if you count Steve as an indie character. 2, I think at this point, it probably is a AAA character and not an indie character at all. It's Super Studio owned at this point. But it'd be like Shovel Knight would have made sense if it was not an assist character. I think Cuphead would be great, like finger bang shooting characters. That would be really cool, and the style would fit too. I feel like if it was 2D hand painted animation, then it would like be the craziest thing. Like having that studio be told like, hey, by the way, we have to make 10,000 more drawings for Smash because we need a ledge grab animation and we need rolls, and so that'd be probably very fun to see. And a final Smash move as well. That'd be cool. But another character that I feel would very well be possible, but I don't know tonally if this character would fit, would be anything from the Undertale thing, right? So a character like Sans or... So do you think that there's a possibility that they'll dive that deep? Because it got on Switch and a lot of people played it and a lot of people love that game, and it's a little bit family friendly, a little bit not, but it could maybe come to Smash. What do you feel?
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? The main character of Undertale, I believe, is Frisk, right? That's the name?
Yes.
Okay,
right.
So I have a general idea of who the main character is. When you think of Undertale, Callum, who's the character you think of?
It's either Sans or it's Papyrus.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, one of the things, whenever I talk about Sans on my channel, people are always so quick to say, there's no way, absolutely no way Sans is ever going to come to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Well, first of all, we just got done talking about how Sakurai, we have no idea what's going on in that head of his. But I think that Sans actually has a very good chance of making it in. When you take a look at everything that Undertale has done, I mean, it's critically acclaimed. Like, people love Undertale. It has Deltarune. This stuff is on the Nintendo Switch. Like, they have a good relationship with Nintendo. And Sans, I think, is probably the most likely character to make it in. Because he's just extremely... When the general person, like... Even if they don't know much about video games or much about Undertale, I think that Sans is the character they think of. Now, they could add in Papyrus or Frisk, but I feel like, Nintendo and Super Smash Bros. Bring in those really big, iconic characters, and I think that, Sans is one of them. I mean, you take a look at the Megalovania theme on YouTube, just the theme song for Sans, and it is 100 million views. People know who this character is, and could you even imagine a reveal for an Undertale character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? That would be so much publicity. People would be going nuts. the people would get exposed to Undertale. They'd want to play it on their Nintendo Switch. They'd want to play through Deltarune. Because once again, if we go back to that Roy and Marth argument where, we were exposed to Fire Emblem because those characters were in Super Smash Bros. Melee, think about how many people haven't played Undertale yet. I've only played a little bit of Undertale, and so Nintendo would just be making a truckload of money with this character, which is why I think, I like to look at things from both a realistic and business standpoint. I like to think about, because it's not Sakurai who's making the choices on these characters, it's Nintendo. And Nintendo's goal at the end of the day is to make money. So adding in a character that's extremely popular like Sans and finding other ways to make money because of him, I think adding Sans in is kind of a no-brainer at this point if they're going to add in an indie character.
Yeah, I feel like that could probably be something that'd be a cool mic drop as well. We talked, of course, about something like Piranha Plant, and I feel like they did the same with Cloud back in the day, right? It wasn't the gigantic reveal. Actually, it was pretty small. It was like, oh, by the way, Cloud's in there. It didn't even get like a big CG trailer or anything, and they could have done that. Like, they could have totally wowed us with that. I feel like something like Sans from Undertale would probably be that same kind of like mic drop announcement. Like, oh, by the way, here's like 2 seconds of a sprite animation and the characters in the game. Realistically, I don't know if it's going to happen. I think that there's better choices in terms of like very popular characters, but it'd be like what you said. It does absolutely make sense, and I feel like it could happen because it's popular. And like 100 million people, is that like accurate? What you just said?
If you look up Megalovania so cool. It's like almost 100 million. I think it's like at 98 million or something.
That's like, think about that. 100 million people. That's incredible.
So yeah, just on those terms alone, I feel like that's indicative of how much people love this character, this world, and like bringing it to Smash Brothers. Sakurai would find a way to make a stage that isn't just a black background. He would find a way to make a great moveset that shows a lot of other characters and like the dogs and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like it would make sense in Sakurai's hand a lot more than it probably does in our brains right now. But as other characters go, I feel like the shots would probably, for me, like there's a couple of characters that I would have loved, and people hate me for saying stuff like Goku, so I'm not going to say Goku right now, even though I'm thinking it. But there's characters that I really want to have in Smash. I already mentioned a Master Chief, but I feel like Toad would make sense as well, like Captain Toad or something like that. And I think it was King Bob Gaming or King Bob Videos. Anyway, King Bob, if you search him on YouTube, he just made this incredible trailer for a Toad mod in Super Smash Brothers. I think it's like Project M or something. Yeah, like that. We reported on it, and we were like, well, this isn't real, but what it is great, and I want to shake this guy's hand. And we've since gotten in touch, right? We've talked with the guy, and he's super sweet and super talented. And bringing Toad to Smash Brothers isn't as crazy as it sounds. Like, even in Super Mario Maker, you already have now in Mario Maker 2 a playable Toad, and of course a palette swap could be playable Toadette with other voice clips, and we of course know that Toadette was playable in, right? She was playable in the Treasure Tracker game, right? Like co-op play. So yeah, I feel like that would also make sense because like the Mario franchise is arguably the biggest franchise in Smash Brothers. So to me, that would make sense. I feel like if you do first party, then a new Pokemon would make sense. There's a couple of leaked Pokemon from that Pokemon Sword and Shield thing that I feel would make great additions to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I don't know if they'll bring the new generation to Ultimate yet, but if they do, then there's one particular Pokemon, and I might just say, keep your eyes on Grookey, Grookey boys. So yeah, I feel like that character might evolve into something special if the league is to be believed, and I feel like that would be a great addition to Smash in terms of movesets. Yeah, first party characters, it does completely make sense to have a character from Fire Emblem, especially now that Three Houses is coming, and that's going to bring a whole lot more husbandos, going to bring a whole lot more waifus, it's going to bring a whole lot more lovely sword fighter characters that we can have in Smash, or maybe some, axe fighters or something like that, something super original and new. So I would be for that if it was super original, and I feel The Legend of Zelda, like you mentioned, a character like Tetra, or a character from like Breath of the Wild, maybe one of the champions. There's people that like have thought about, what if all the champions are one character and you can kind of switch between them, between moves? That'd be super cool. So those kinds of things are great. If you think about first party, there's more than enough possibility there. But I just wanted to touch base with you and kind of see where you're at on the scale. Do you believe that every single fighter in the Fighters Pass will be a third-party challenger?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, actually. So here's kind of my theory right now. So what I believe is that we are not going to end up just with one DLC Fighters Pass. There's no way. In Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, we got Mewtwo, Roy, Lucas, Ryu, Cloud, Bayonetta, Corrin. That's 7 characters right there already. And this is the ultimate Super Smash Bros. Game, right? They're going to want to keep supporting this game until they can't support it anymore, or they're going to start working on the new Super Smash Bros. Game. And considering that the Switch is so early in its life, and I doubt that we're going to see another Super Smash Bros. Game on it anytime soon, I think they're going to continue it for a long time. So, when I think about the fighter passes, I do think that the first one is going to be all third party, because I think that Nintendo wants to hit the ground running with all of these DLC characters. Like Joker, awesome. Super cool. It's bringing in an audience from the PlayStation people. They're coming in because they're like, oh my goodness, Joker's in the game? Like, I want to see what he's all about. So if what I believe Nintendo is doing right now is they are bringing in characters from other companies, so that way they can expose more people to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then they can also be exposed to these brand new characters, which is kind of like a win-win for both companies, if that makes sense.
It does completely make sense. For me, it'd almost be the greatest trade-off to have people come in for all those third-party characters, and then you do another Fighters Pass, which might be just the Echo Fighters Pass or something like that. Something easy, something simple, but something that makes people very happy. There's a lot of Echo Fighters that people would love, like tiny edits to certain characters. Think about Shadow, maybe.
Funky Kong,
sounds
Dixie
stupid.
Kong.
Funky Kong, exactly. Those kind of characters completely make sense. So if they do like an Echo Fighter Pass, that sounds awesome. Actually.
Oh, I'd be so okay with that.
An Echo Fighters Pass. So for me, that would totally make sense. Give me another Fire Emblem character, like clone. I don't care anymore at this point. Like give me a Robin Echo Fighter or whatever. But if they do that, and the value isn't as much as the first DLC Fighters Pack, because it'll just be one prize for another 4 or 5 characters, and they won't all get new stages or music, or I feel like expanding the lifespan of Smash Brothers, they're doing a great job at it. They just added Stage Builder to the game after the fact. It's awesome. It has a whole lot of capabilities. You can move parts and animate parts and make a background and foreground. It's so well thought out. And of course, the idea probably was that it was included in the base game.
Yeah.
Sakurai talked about 3 pillars of the game, and one was a Smash, one was sharing, and one was building or something like that. Something like that, something along those lines. And I feel like we might still be getting new game modes throughout this Fighters Pack. So I think that not with every character, but maybe with every big 0.0 update. The 4.0 update will probably get, hands down, it'll probably get the Sandbag home run contest.
I mean, that's already, we found files for that in the data mines. That's coming at some point.
That probably is, yeah. And I think there's also information for some other stuff in there, but I would love to see another few game modes coming, like board the platforms. I would love to see some target test stuff in there.
Yeah, man.
And, even with a stage builder, let us make our own break the targets things. Just let us make them. We'll do it. We'll make one for every character. We'll canonize it. Right. So, to kind of wrap this whole thing up, and, because we talked about every major character that people are expecting to show up in the Fighters Pass, we talked about every aspect of the game that we feel DLC could improve upon. We talked about some things about E3, the reveals that might be coming. But my big question to you right now is more along the lines of E3's big presentation. The Nintendo Direct, that to me, what Nintendo has to do is super difficult, because last year's presentation was the everyone is here thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It had a lot of mic drop moments next to that, but it also had Everyone Is Here, and that's arguably one of the best moments in gaming as a whole.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like E3's best moment videos on YouTube, they have the Everyone Is Here thing. So my question to you is, what will be their mic drop moment this year? And it could be aside from Super Smash Brothers, or it can be a Super Smash Brothers thing, but do you believe that they'll have a moment like that, and what would it be?
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? We have gotten it since April. We've gotten a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct, we've gotten a Super Mario Maker 2 Direct, and we've gotten a Pokemon Sword and Shield Direct. Like, those are three of Nintendo's biggest both upcoming games, and obviously Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like, that's big stuff. Like, the fact that Dynamax and everything in the Sword and Shield Direct wasn't announced at E3 makes me wonder what they are going to end up bringing. Because, I mean, obviously, we're going to see stuff probably like Luigi's Mansion 3, Animal Crossing, you know, all the stuff we saw in the September Direct, maybe some Astral Chain, other games like that, but I don't know what their mic drop is going to be. Like, if they had saved one of those three directs for the E3 Direct, like, those were all pretty big on their own, but I don't know. I think that it's going to probably be a Smash. It's going to be a Smash Ultimate character because obviously, like you said, you know, E3 is this big stage. They need to make a very good impression. But other than that, I'm not sure. They might announce some kind of collaboration with Microsoft. Like, maybe they'll officially unveil Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass on the Nintendo Switch, and then that'll be like, oh, like, that's their big mic drop. But I don't know. Those three directs threw me off.
Yeah, and I feel like there's already been announcement. Like, at the time of recording, we just got the Yooka-Laylee sequel trailer that didn't drop in a Nintendo Direct, that didn't drop at E3, but that just dropped. And it's like I wouldn't call it like AAA franchise,
right?
But it's a big deal, right? It's like things that we love, a big Kickstarter game, something that wasn't like what we hoped it would be, but it was still huge, and the developers and Grant Kirkhope music and stuff like that. So them just dropping that online out of nowhere, it looks great, it looks fine, right? And not saving it for some kind of E3 reveal, that makes me think they probably have some big things coming. I'm a bit scared.
It must be like secret stuff too. I mean, they have just been all of this stuff. I mean, E3's next week. There's no reason they couldn't have just announced the new Yooka-Laylee there. Like, when I saw that day, I'm like, we are less than a week away from our E3 Direct, right? Why are all these companies showing stuff off now? And that's why I think we're going to get some kind of big collaboration. You know, Sony's not going to be at E3 this year, and it's just going to be, you know, the two big ones are Microsoft and Nintendo. So since it's going to be those two big pillars there, like, maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe they are going to be like, we are now going to start working together on a lot of different projects, and that's just going to be their big reveal. Once again, a lot of stuff has dropped before E3, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I don't remember getting this much before, you know, the big E3 in June. I feel like this is a little unprecedented.
It is completely unprecedented. I think that there's a lot of reveals they could have saved for E3.
Agreed.
Because E3 is just the biggest thing that happens every year, and you just need all of your chips on the table with that. So the fact that they're not doing it says so much. And with that, you know, E3 is coming very soon. I feel like we both have our work cut out for us because there's probably going to be Smash news coming. We're probably both going to stream stuff, or we're going to make a lot of videos regardless. And I just can't wait to go on this journey together. And now with our newfound friendship, right? It's LaxChris X Block content now. We have this brand new partnership, Avengers Watch Out. So we'll probably do a little bit more down the road together. Maybe we should do like a post E3 discussion too, to kind of see if our predictions were correct or super off base. I think that'd be super fun. There's a couple of things that I want to say, like closing off. First of all, Chris, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. I reached out to you because my fans kept like comparing the channel or saying fun like quotes or fun stuff.
Right.
And I actually was very amused by it. And now that I got to sit down with you for over an hour to talk about it, and you know, a lot of time before that too, to like prepare for the discussion and talk with you, it's been great having you on the show. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, because I really didn't envision it getting this in depth and sharing stuff like between the two of us. So thank you so much for being an integral part of today's discussion, because there's a lot of stuff here that we can mine for E3, and I couldn't have done this without you, man.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, I had an absolutely phenomenal time here with you today. Guys, like, people compare us to each other. I heard that one of my favorite comments was, blocked content is LaxChris's Echo Fighter. And I was like, you know what, if one of us, if we're both Echo Fighters of each other, fine. I took that as a compliment, man. I love your channel. I love everything you do on it. I'd love to do a post E3 discussion. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, I'm so glad that I got to come out here with you today, Callum.
And what about that Piranha Plant? Is that something that you're interested in?
Oh, yeah. So if any of you guys believe that you were winning the Piranha Plant plushie, so Callum and I were talking a little bit before about this, and I have realized that this is something I cannot live without. So I will be commenting on every video until he gives it to me. And if he doesn't, well, then we're not friends anymore.
Right, that's how easy it goes here. So for those of you who don't know, we are giving away Piranha Plant plushie, which is the cutest thing. It's also a puppet. You can play with it, and you might have seen it during block content live streams as well. We actually have 3 of them. I'll keep one of those 3 if I may, but we're still giving them away at 50K, and at this rate, we'll probably hit 50K very soon. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, LaxChris, for joining this discussion. It's been great to talk about some stuff. We've run for a long time, but I feel like there's a lot more to say when E3 is happening and comes to a close.
Absolutely.
So I want to leave you guys here. Chris, any closing thoughts?
Guys, thanks again for watching. If you made it in this hour and 5-minute video, holy cow, you guys are troopers if you made it all the way to the end. But I had a great time. Guys, if you want to see more than me, you can come over to my channel. Once again, it's LaxChris. Get this man to 50K, because if he doesn't give away this plushie soon, I'm going to be very upset.
And you'll probably steal it from me.
Hey, there you go, man.
So thank you guys so much for watching, and for more blocked content, just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and we'll see you guys around the corner where there's always more crossovers and blocked content. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.